The Olympic road race and TT only comes around every 4 years. This year it's been a 5-year gap, a race so elusive that even the best riders in history only get a few cracks at winning.
The gold medal will of course be given out in Tokyo, fought on the slopes of the iconic Mount Fuji. Greg van Avermaet and Anna van der Breggen are the reigning champions looking to reclaim their titles.
But there are plenty looking to be crowned the new Olympic champion for 2021, and in this video we'll take you through all the favourites for both the men's and women's race, plus talk you through the route. You are not going to want to miss this one.
Connor, why do you have to wear the same t-shirt?
I told you to wear blue, Manon. The men's road race takes place on Saturday the 24th and the women's on Sunday the 25th of July, with the time trials held the following Wednesday on the 28th. All races will be shown live and on demand on GCN Plus in the Europe zone, excluding France, Monaco and Russia, which is extremely exciting for us all here at GCN.
The distance of this year's road race is 234 kilometres for the men and 137 for the women. And this is actually the first time in history that the course has been raced from a point-to-point location rather than a circuit.
The men's race takes in the lower slopes of Mount Fuji on the Fuji San Rocco climb, peaking at 1,451 metres of elevation over 14.2 kilometres, with an average gradient of 6%. That climb tops out with just under 100 kilometres to go. Afterwards, the race hits the brutal Mikuni Pass after some undulating roads with no key climbs. The Mikuni Pass is 6.5 kilometres long with 10.6% average gradient and will be completed with 33 kilometres to go. So this definitely will be the key climb in the men's race. En route to the top, the riders stumble upon a 4-kilometre section with an average gradient of 12%. So it is solid. A short descent leads to the foot of the Kakasaka Pass, a short climb tackled already earlier in the race, before a quick descent and a finale on the Fuji International Speedway circuit, leaving 10 kilometres to go from the bottom of that descent to the finish. All in, the route will amount to 4,865 metres of ascent, a tough course which has said to be harder than the Rio course by the likes of previous silver medalist Jakob Fuglsang. When we all watched Rio, I don't think we thought that could even be possible.
The women's race won't include the two big mountains that the men have, controversially missing out Mikuni Pass and Mount Fuji, but still have 2,696 metres of climbing. The race is 137 kilometres long and the Dushi Road climb will be the main challenge. It's a gradual climb, slowly rising to 1,122 metres over 30 kilometres, pretty much climbing from the start. The Kakasaka climb will be the real test before the descent down to the finish on the Speedway circuit. It's like the men's, around 25 kilometres of undulating terrain between the last descent and the finish line.
The challenge for the men is the race's proximity to the Tour de France. Coming only 1 week after the Tour finished on the Champs-Élysées, it will be a challenge for those who completed the Tour. Some of whom actually took a flight to Japan immediately after the Tour finished. Wout van Aert actually posted a photo on social media checking into his flight mere hours after he took that final stage win, which is pretty incredible really, no celebrations for him. Time will tell who chose the best route to Tokyo, but the 130 rider start list is of course packed with quality regardless.
And climbers, plenty of climbers. This is about as mountainous as you get for a road race, so no wonder that those starting are who's who's of climbing specialists.
Today, Pogačar tops that list with their clear display of dominance at this year's Tour. The question, however, remains over whether media commitments, travel and general fatigue from the French Grand Tour will see his form fade. If he has the same legs that brought him yellow in Paris, though, he will be hard to beat.
Pogačar's Slovenian compatriot Primož Roglič is another favourite. Crashing out early from the Tour, he'll be looking to salvage something from what would have been a big build-up to form with no reward. Personally, I feel like Pogačar may ride for Roglič in the Slovenian national team if he's feeling good. The descent and the flat run into the finish will suit his style of racing. Either way, the Slovenian national team are the ones to beat at this year's race.
However, if they are going to win, Manon, they're going to have to get through Belgium and Wout van Aert.
It's true.
Because, well, that is no easy task,
No.
is it? The Belgian won a TT mountain and sprint stage at the Tour, proving his climbing abilities with that solo win on the stage, which included a double ascent of Mont Ventoux. Take him to the line and he'll be hard to beat, and he'll be hard to shake loose too. The race will have to be made ferociously hard from the start in order to drop him, so expect fireworks early on with no easing of pace. But with Remco Evenepoel waiting in the wings and defending champ Greg van Avermaet, the Belgians, they have cars to play as always.
Fuglsang, silver medalist in Rio, returns for Denmark. He exited the Tour before the final stage with sickness and appears to now be going all in for the gold medal in order to salvage something from this summer. On his day, this is the perfect course for him if things go right, but that will depend on his recovery after the Tour. Interestingly, Vinigo isn't on the start line after his amazing second place at the Tour, which announced him as a real Grand Tour contender, so the Danes will have to make do without a key player.
The Brits are another strong team at the Olympics with 4 riders, the Yates brothers, Grant Thomas and Theo Gegenhardt. Any of those riders have the capacity to win, although arguably the Yateses will be their best chance, especially with that flat run into the finish and the chance of a sprint. None have had standout rides in the last few months, so for the Brits too, this is another chance potentially to reverse their fortunes.
It is. Richard Carapaz is another of the clear favourites. With a third place at the Tour, Carapaz has the legs to take the win and is definitely savvy enough to do so. However, he never really looked able to really seriously challenge Pogačar in the Tour, so we'll be hoping to raise his level to Tokyo to take gold. Either way, the win by an Ecuadorian would be massive.
It would. Ecuador have only ever won 1 gold medal at the Olympic Games when Jefferson Perez won the gold medal in the men's 20-kilometre walk at the 1996 Games in Atlanta. If Carapaz wins, Ecuador will explode, which is why he's my pick for gold. I'm rooting for him, Manon.
Go for it, Conor. On to our wildcards now, Conor, and we've got Nibali, Almeida and Gadu, which could all take the titles.
Also, anyone from Colombia, really, even with no Egan Bernal on the start line. They have Uran, Quintana, Chavez, Higuita. Strongest team in the race, perhaps? Valverde, Dan Martin, but also, and this is a big outside punt, Tom Dumoulin. How cool would that be after almost leaving the sport for good? Anyway, let's see who the women's favourites are.
The women's peloton will only be 67 riders, a pretty dramatic change to the recent races we've been seeing with fields way over 100.
Without a doubt, the strongest nation we will see taking to the start line this year is the Dutch lineup. They qualified 4 places for the road race, so they've got numbers.
They have. They've got Anna van der Breggen, the current world champion, and won the Olympic road race back in 2016. She has been flying this year with 9 wins to her name and taking her most recent victory at one of the hardest races on the women's calendar, the Giro Donne.
Another big contender from the Netherlands, of course, will be Annemiek van Vleuten, second at last year's World Championships and current European road race champion. Although, interestingly, Van Vleuten chose a different path to this year's Olympics, missing the Giro Donne solely to focus on Olympic glory. Van Vleuten and Van der Breggen are both some of the best climbers and TT riders in the women's pro peloton, so expect them to see them making their moves on the climbs and looking for a solo victory to the finish.
The other 2 riders completing the Dutch lineup is Marianne Vos and Demi Vollering. Both have great speeds when it comes to the finish line, so if they can get over the climbs, they could stand a chance in taking the win. In this way, the Dutch have a brilliant hand to play. Go for broke with a solo wins by Van Vleuten and Van der Breggen, and if not, and it comes down to a sprint, Vos and Vollering could take the win.
What a lineup the Netherlands have. 4 riders that are all capable of taking that victory, and it will be interesting to see how their team tactics play out.
Lizzie Deignan of Great Britain showed great form at the Giro Donne, taking 4th place overall, and she will like the look of this course, I feel. Enough climbing to make a difference, but not too much to rule her out at the finish. Great Britain, though, have only qualified 2 places, so she will only have Anna Shackley for support.
Cecile Ludwig for Denmark is another who could challenge. She narrowly missed out at La Course, but this sprint definitely suits her characteristics, I think, and also her kind of classic style riding. And in this parcours, with that rolly road to the finish, it really could work out well for her.
It could. Kasia Niewiadoma for Poland. She was only 22 when she rode the Rio Olympics, and since then she has notched up quite the palmares, including a win at the OVO Women's Tour in 2017, second GC at the Women's Donne in 2020, and winning Amstel Gold in 2019, amongst other results.
She has forgone the Giro Donne as preparation and has instead had a slightly more low-key build-up to the Olympics, opting instead for the Balois Ladies Tour in Belgium, where she finished in the top 10 on GC, which could work in her favour, I feel, allowing her more time to recover before the Olympics begins.
Elisa Longo Borghini will carry the hopes for Italy. She earned a bronze medal in Rio and will look to go 1 or hopefully 2 spots better in Tokyo. She will have a strong team around her, including the experience of Bastianelli.
One rider who will be glad of the less mountainous parcours though for the women is Lisa Brennau. She will be doing all she can to save energy and survive the race for the sprint, and also has 3 teammates to assist her in this. The German will be a firm favourite if it does look like the race will come down to a sprint.
Others to look out for are Mavi Garcia of Spain, Corin Rivera of the USA, and Amanda Spratt of Australia.
Also, Tennille Campbell riding for Trinidad and Tobago, the first time the country has ever fielded a rider in the Women's Olympic Games, which is an achievement in itself, I think, so go on Tennille.
That's enough for the road race. Let's move on to the time trial.
The time trial course is a circuit, the same for both men and women, except the men will complete 2 laps of that circuit compared to 1 for the women. That's 44.2 kilometres for the men and 22.1 kilometres for the women. Starting
and finishing on the Fuji Speedway circuit. Like the road race, it is a hilly affair with 423 metres of climbing per lap.
As we said before, the TT event will follow the road race on the Wednesday for all competitors, a format I think many will favour, potentially inviting more riders to try their luck. For the men, one of the main favourites I think will be Wout van Aert, though Remco Evenepoel will be hard to beat too. Belgium once again with those options. Roglic will also be a force to be reckoned with, the rider on the star line who perhaps best suits this hilly course, although Tom Dumoulin will have a word to say about that if his form is where it needs to be.
Geraint Thomas is another of the TT climbers who can challenge here, but there are a number of TT specialists who will be looking to claw back an advantage when the road isn't turned uphill. Among them, Philippe Ogana, of course, is a firm favourite. If he brings his climbing legs, the Italian TT will be hard to beat.
Rowan Dennis for Australia is another TT specialist aiming for gold, potentially with better climbing pedigree than Ghana too. Brandon McNulty and Lawson Craddock for USA will also provide strong assaults, I think, and be a real turn up for the books if they get a result, but they're definitely capable of it, as too is Kasper Asgreen for Denmark. After such amazing work at the Tour in support of Cavendish, securing the green jersey of course, it'd be great to see the Dane get his spot in the limelight. And he does have the horsepower of course. Remember that win he took in Flanders all by himself, powering to victory. Could we see him do this at the Olympics in the TT?
Who's your favourite, Connor? I'm not sure.
My favourite for the TT is Wout van Aert.
Is it?
Yep, it's going to be impossible to beat, I think.
The women TT sees 3 main favourites, Americans Chloe Dygert being potentially at the top of the list. If she delivers a TT with the same form that netted her in 2019 World Championships, then she will be a good shout come Wednesday.
The Dutch pair of Anna van der Breggen, who took bronze in Rio, and Annemiek van Vleuten will be formidable opposition, however.
It's hard to look past those 3 for the podium spots, but if there is an upset, look no further than Elisa Longo Borghini of Italy and Lisa Brennau of Germany.
But that's enough from us, because it is that time for predictions, and we're going to go over to our fellow GCN presenters to see who they're rooting for in Tokyo.
In the men's road race, I'm going for Slovenia. I reckon it's going to be Pogačar, maybe Roglic, but I'm going with Pogačar. And in the women's road, Netherlands, but I can't see beyond Van der Breggen. I think, Anna van der Breggen, or maybe Van Vleuten. Probably Van der Breggen.
I'm going to go for Wout van Aert in the men's race, and then in the women's race, it's going to be one of the Dutch team, isn't it? Van Vleuten?
Okay, right, it's time for our predictions now. Manon, who are you going for?
I'm going to go for the men's road race, I'm going to go Van Aert. And for the women, I'm going to go Van Vleuten. I know she really wants this gold medal.
Good bet.
And then for the time trial, I'm going to Geraint Thomas.
Fair one. That's
Yeah,
a
I'm
good
just going
shout.
to put it out there. And
Wales never fails.
It doesn't. And I would love to see Chloe Dygert take a win in the time trial. After that horrible injury that she had, it would be phenomenal if she takes a win.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I think I'm going to go for Carapaz. Well, I already said I'm going for Carapaz of Ecuador because it would be amazing. I'd love to see Ecuador.
Ecuador would go crazy.
But I'd also be rooting for Ireland, of course, and I think Dan Martin's got a good chance.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think he does. And in
You
the
can't
women,
go for two. You have to pick one.
Well, no, Carapaz is my pick, but I'm also cheering for
No.
Dan.
No.
Why is
you
that
have to
not
pick
allowed?
one.
No, I could pick one.
No, one.
Okay, I'm going for Carapaz of Ecuador.
Thank you. Women?
Women, I think Anna van der Breggen. It's just going to be rock solid.
Good
hard to
shout.
beat. It's a solid bet.
Yeah.
In the TT, I think Wout van Aert.
Ooh.
I'm laughing because I want to do another pick as well.
Can't do another pick.
No? Okay, we'll go for Wout van Aert. Wout van Aert for the men, and in the women, I'd like to go for Chloe Dygert as well. That'd
Good
be cool to
shout.
see. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is it, the Olympics preview. Thanks for watching. Don't forget as well, temperatures are likely to be 29 to 31 degrees Celsius and extremely humid, so the conditions will definitely favour riders that are good in the heat.
Let us know who you are cheering for in this year's Olympics, and we hope you enjoy the racing. And
Let's not forget, Manon,
What?
skateboarding will see its first edition
Yeah.
in the Olympics this year. I'll be taking the day off to watch because I'm a skateboarding expert. I know
expert.
all the moves. Just watch this clip.